Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're having a good Monday. So many good things to break down. You heard from Kalani Sitake earlier in the show. You heard from Bronco Mendenhall earlier in the show. Well, Hans, blowout victories coming down the stretch. You feeling an all right, or is it an okay day?
It's going to be an okay. I think it's going to be a good, solid okay.
It's all about that business.
He's hit us with, is it one or two all rights?
Just one.
One all right. I think we're going to get just a nice, calm, cool okay. That was another big blowout win.
Again, Kyle Whittingham always starts his press conferences with either okay or all right. I think we're both in agreement on this one. It feels like an okay day for Kyle Whittingham.
Good to go? Okay. A little bit about the Baylor game. First of all, I thought we did some good things. A lot of explosive plays on offense. Bird Ficklin obviously came in the game and gave us some spark and some, really ran the football exceptionally well. He only carried it, I think it was 6 times, but about 165 yards. So he was a bright spot for us. Wayshawn Parker goes over 100 yards again and really has continuing to separate himself in the backfield from other guys and doing a good job. Not a lot in the throw game, didn't need to. We were committed to the run in this game and ended up piling up almost 400 yards of offense, rushing offense. So a lot of good things. Offensively. Offensive line played well again. That's been a theme the entire season. Defensively, certainly gave up more points and yards than you'd like, but scored a touchdown, set up another touchdown with a pick six and an interception. I think it ended up inside the 10-yard line. So good stuff there. Baylor, as I mentioned, going into the game, outstanding receiving corps, and feel no different after the game. That's the best receiving corps that we've played, and the quarterback is really good from the pocket. They threw for a ton of yards, 400 plus, but we were able to come away with the victory. Special teams, kind of a non-factor. Not a lot going on special teams-wise with either side, and so that was good to get the win. They're, like I said, they got some good players. They got size, athleticism, and speed and length and all that. So they were certainly a team that until we started to separate there in the second half, it was a pretty competitive game. Coming up this week, Kansas State back home, final home game of the year, senior day. So we get to recognize our seniors, and it's a good kickoff time, 2:00. So we like that. A little bit of a roll here. We got some momentum going into this game, and got to try to hang on to that. All starts with a great week of preparation. It starts today with that, and we're in pretty good health. We'll find out as the week goes on. With some guys that might be a little questionable, but for where we are in the big picture, health-wise, got no complaints this time of the year. So, questions?
This is from Dresky Kyle. It says, great win Saturday with about 400 yards passing given up in the last game. What's your plan to tighten the screws for this week's game?
Yeah, well, like I said, going in, they're a talented receiving corps. We expected them to, they've been throwing for over 300 a week all season long, and so it wasn't a surprise that we were tested deep. In fact, gosh, it must have been 15 fade balls thrown in that game, 50 balls at least. I mean, it was one after another. And so we needed to make a few more plays than we did. There's no doubt about that. But we've been good in pass coverage all season long. We're still amongst the leaders in the conference in both pass yardage given up and pass defense efficiency. And so just got to keep working at it. We'll miss Scooby, obviously, the first half of this game, which is not ideal for us. He's been a very consistent player for us this year, so that'll give other guys opportunity, though. So that's it.
On Saturday night, you had talked about how Devin has just been banged up enough.
Yeah.
It's still questionable each week. Is there a situation where Bird starts this game or the last game, or kind of where do you kind of see that? Is it still just kind of up in the air?
Day by day is what we're taking it, and that's the best answer I can give you. If I knew any more than that, I would share most of that with you, or some of that. But it's just a situation where Devin, there's a lot of physicality in his game, with all the runs he does, and scrambling from the pocket, in addition to the design QB runs. So he takes some physical. It takes a physical toll on him, but he's a tough kid. He loves it. He's not he loves running the football, and he's been effective at it. So we'll just see what happens. But certainly there is a scenario where you could see Bird. I'm sure of that, but we'll see.
You guys have blown out teams in each of your wins.
Mm-hmm.
Are style points kind of consideration for you guys with the college football playoff?
No, I don't believe in humiliating anybody or trying to run up the score. When you're playing a throw team like Baylor, no score. You got to have a 4-score lead to be safe, because they throw the ball so effective they can strike from anywhere, and so that's a little different than if you're playing a team that is a run-oriented team and you get up a few scores. But no, to answer your question, I don't subscribe to that. We don't subscribe to that. There's been games this year where we certainly could have piled on more points, but I just don't think it's not who we are. Yeah.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, PK.
Now, I know you've been saying your focus is on Kansas State.
Absolutely, 100%, and nothing else matters.
You don't even know that it's your birthday this week, because it's all...
Stop. I can't believe you said that. Okay.
But I'm going to ask you this question anyway. The way your team is playing right now, which obviously is at an extremely high level, do you think right now that it is playoff worthy?
You know what? We're going to take things one game at a time, PK, and see if we can see how we do against Kansas State. But I'll tell you right now that this team has a lot of confidence. We've got a lot of momentum going right now. The leadership is outstanding, and we think we're playing good football. Is it good enough? We'll find out. We got to take care of our business first, starting with this week. And when the dust settles and the regular season's over, we'll see where we're at and what kind of opportunities are there.
You'd mentioned that Devin in that situation, sort of day-to-day, obviously with him just being hampered with the injury. Is there any scenario this season where you shut him down just because you're worried about his long-term health, or is the injury, I guess, severe enough for it to render him just shut down for the season?
No, and we would. That's not my decision. Obviously, that would be a medical decision. And so you're asking, going forward, are we going to shut him down, or
is there any scenario where that happens? Is his injury severe enough in that case?
As it stands right now, no. No, as it stands right now. But you got to be able to function and be. He gets pretty sore and pretty beat up, as I mentioned, and so. But no, we don't feel that he's been put in harm's way any more than the next guy as far as long term and that type of thing.
Kyle, after the game, you mentioned that Devin, his mastery of the offense and just his experience in the offense is what led to the decision to keep him out there. But how do you balance that versus how he's performing, how he's executing in terms of how, playing him, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's all in the equation. It's game by game and within the game itself. When we feel that the game is out of reach, then we've tried to get him out in those situations, and we've supplemented him, as you noticed, throughout the game with Bird. Sometimes they're in there. A lot of the time they're in there both at the same time, but Devin doesn't have a lot of a role when Bird is at the quarterback. He was more of a guy that just is window dressing out there. But we just rely on the medical staff to help with those decisions, and as long as they say he's good to go and he says he's good to go, then we just try to do things as intelligently as we can, and like I said, when the game seems to be in the bag, so to speak, then we try to get him out of there.
Kyle, at the beginning of the season, you said that this could be the greatest offensive line you've ever had. 10 games in, have they met expectations?
100%.
Ask them.
100%. They're surpassed.
Expectations?
I would say as advertised, exactly what we expected, and if anything, maybe even better than we expected. We're second in the nation in rushing the football, and that's a real good indicator of the physicality and the talent level of your front.
And then, did you happen to see the catch that went viral by a certain player that will go nameless?
Certain high school player?
A certain high school player at Rice Cycle Stadium?
Absolutely. That was very impressive for that, whoever that guy was. And it's as good a play as I've ever seen at any level. I don't think I can get in trouble for saying that, because we still don't know who the guy is. But anyway, yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Kyle, I kind of wanted to ask you a big picture question. I know you mentioned you're focused on Kansas State, but it seems like you have 2 starting caliber quarterbacks on your roster, and you obviously view them very highly. There's been scenarios in the past where teams like Texas have had Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning on their roster long term. Given just the way the offseason goes, is there a scenario where you can see Bird and Devin staying on the roster next season together, just given the circumstances of how the portal is and all that?
We sure hope so. And that's remains to be seen, and we'll, that will be addressed. Obviously, they've tweaked the recruiting a little bit now in the dead periods, where December is now completely a dead period, and the portal does not open until January now, and so you have a little more time after the regular season to sort those things out than before. Before, you'd have to start those conversations now with a lot of your players as far as what their plans are and that type of thing. But with what Bird's done this year, and what Devin's done for that matter, we're going to have to really step up to hang on to those guys, and that's really an administrative thing, it's not in my court. That's what kind of resources we can come up with to keep the roster together, and it'd be interesting to do the study. My guess is if you took a study of Power 4 football rosters, the $25 million rosters, the 20, and with the average win-loss record, it would just follow suit exactly with the resources available. So yeah, everyone's trying to step up in that regard.
Who's a better thrower between the two?
Devin, they have different styles. Devin gets the ball out extremely quick. He's got a quick release. He's able to go through the progressions a little quicker than Bird because he's so familiar with them. Bird maybe has a little more zip on the ball, a tad more accuracy at times, but they're different types of throwers from the pocket, and they're both outstanding, but just different. So I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. They both do it their way.
Good time for more, Sammy.
Jason Stokes Jr. only played 13 snaps on Saturday, but he had that good pass breakup. What have you seen from his development that has given you guys confidence to put a true freshman out there versus some of these pass-heavy teams? Yeah,
well, he's progressed ever since he got here. We obviously liked him out of high school. We wouldn't have recruited him. We thought he had some real upside, and you're right. He made a really nice play in the game on Saturday, and it was an opportunity to put him in the game when we got to what was it, 49-20, I think, is where we felt the game was pretty much out of reach, and gave him some opportunity, and a lot of that was Scooby, going out early, gave us an opportunity to put other guys in, and then Jason was next in line, and so that it was kind of a chain reaction. But I can tell you right now, we have a lot of confidence in Jason, and he's a guy that, as I mentioned, has really gotten better week by week and works hard and has great attitude. And Sharif, Coach Shaw, just thought it was time for him to maybe get some game action and show what he can do.
There you go. Kyle Whittingham right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A lot of interesting comments there from Kyle in terms of the likelihood of Devin Dampier and Bert Ficklin both being on the roster next year. And unfortunately, that's the world we're living in right now, where Bert Ficklin isn't going to see a lot of time, but people are already have seen what he's capable of doing. So you're darn right. He's going to have a lot of people lining up for his services in the offseason. And Kyle's like, look, we want to keep both of them, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep them. But obviously, they're going to command a lot, both of them. So I just, you'd love to see a world where Devin Dampier can finish out next year and then Bird Ficklen's next man up and off you go. But if I'm Bird Ficklin, not only do you want to get paid, but you want an opportunity. You don't want to be the number 2 Wildcat guy coming off the bench. You want to run your own program. You want to be the guy. So Utah can offer one of those, probably a hefty payday, but they're not going to be able to offer both if Devin Dampier comes back.
And, there is one other quarterback in the equation, and that's Isaac Wilson.
Yeah.
Isaac's got 3 years of eligibility, and he's a very good quarterback. So I'm sure he's looking at the writing on the wall and saying, well, everybody's fighting over these two.
Yeah.
Well, what am I going to do?
Exactly.
And I still think he's a good ball player. I think he could be great for anybody out there. So hopefully Isaac Wilson can find a good landing spot. Hopefully Utah can manage Bird and Devin Dampier. You're going to have to come up with a creative game plan for both of them.
And if I'm Devin Dampier, I'm like, well, I understand what we're doing right now, but look, I want to be the guy. I want to be out there all the plays. I don't want to split time in any ratio whatsoever. He's a competitor. So, I can see both of them being like, I want to be the guy, and Bird Ficklin wants to be the guy. And I don't think this will ultimately come down to money because if Utah wants to pay somebody, they'll find a way to pay him. But the question is, you can't offer all the playing time to Bird Ficklin.
The perfect scenario would be, if I could, convince Bird, hey, look, it's your sophomore year coming up. Devin Dampier's got 1 year left. You're going to have the reins for 2 years. In this upcoming year, let's put some good Wildcat in. Let's put some, good packages in where you and Devin can get us to a Big 12 championship and take us to the heights because we need you both. And then 2 years following Devin Dampier, it's all yours.
Yeah.
The whole world is yours. And in the meantime, we're compensating you very healthily, and we're going to make you very happy and very famous here. I don't know. You got to come up with some type of true recruiting pitch to let him know it's 1 year. Devin Dampier's got 1 year. You've still got 3. So let's manage this so that you're happy, we're happy, and we're all winning together.
Yeah. And
you don't want to lose that time.
And you look, Devin, what are the chances he plays all 12 games next year? Probably not great. Like, we're going to need you.
Yeah.
All right. But Bird's over there like, well, I got this Lloyd Cole guy who's telling me that I need to be making the jump to the NFL like right now. So I don't know what I need to be doing.
Lloyd's
I like
trying to figure out how to keep Bird in the state.
Yeah. All right, Hans and Scotty. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A little sports roulette coming up next right here on the Zone.
The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of Sports Roulette. As we take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel, we spin it. Wherever that little ball lands is what we end up talking about. So let's get it. Lloyd, fire up that wheel.
We need to start talking about this guy.
All right, Scotty.
We?
Don't look now because the Utah Jazz are 2-1 in the last 3. And Lauri Markkanen is averaging 31 points a game.
Yes, he is. First Jazz player since Adrian Dantley to average 30 points a game in the first, 14 games of the year?
First 14 games. So here's what we're looking at. Lauri Markkanen has point totals of 33 against Sacramento, 51 against Phoenix, 32 against Portland, 33 against Phoenix again, 29 against Charlotte, 35 against Indiana, 40 last Thursday against Atlanta, and then 47 last night in a double overtime performance against the Chicago Bulls. But he's got multiple 40-point performances. He's got a 50-plus point performance. And Lauri Markkanen is playing at an all-star pace. And he is dragging the Jazz to wins.
I love it. I don't love it in terms of draft picks for next year, but The dude's an all-star, playing at a crazy all-star level, and he and then the flashes you're seeing from Keontae George and Ace Bailey make the Jazz not quite the pushover that they were last year.
Yep. And, Isaiah Collier continues to be a stud as he's now back on the court. He's led the Jazz 3 out of 4 games in assists. He's got double-digit assist nights. Like, that guy is coming along. Nurkic continues to ball out. He plays his butt off every night. This goes back to the comments that, was it Austin Ainge or was it Ryan Smith that said, this year we'll be playing different lineups, but nobody is going to be playing less than full speed.
Correct. That was, I
can't remember who it was that
I
said
think
it.
Austin was the first one to say it at his introductory press conference, and then everybody else has piled on since.
Yeah.
And, look, if you went to that game yesterday, double overtime, incredible game, you could not be not entertained from that one. This is what you wanted to see. Because the Jazz last year, they lost games. It's one thing to lose, and then it's another thing to just look bleh. And there was a lot of bleh last year. This team, they're not going to win a ton of games. They're not going to be a playoff team. But they are going to be far more entertaining to watch this year than they were last year. All right, Lloyd, spin it.
Nobody cares about safety anymore.
No, especially the NBA officials. Hands yesterday, Jazz and Bulls going back and forth down the stretch of the game. Jazz down by 2, 114 to 112, and all of a sudden, whistle gets blown. And the officials award free throws to Chicago. Why? Because a towel boy went out to clean the floor of sweat without being told to do so by the officials. That's a delay of game penalty against the Jazz.
Mark just turns and walks away. So the violation is what? Delay of game?
I could read those lips. He did not agree with the call. Let me say that.
So that's Will Hardy in the background. You hearing yelling, and he said some words, and he was frustrated because the ball boy is out there underneath the standard. He sees some guy hit the floor. He sees a wet floor, and his job is to hey, I don't want anybody slipping on my watch. He goes out there, starts wiping the floor. Apparently the rule is that the official has to tell you to do it before you're allowed to do it. So the Jazz, because they were the home team, got hit with the delay of game, and in the press conference, Will Hardy was asked about it further.
Team attendant came out to wipe up sweat without being asked by the officials. I don't want to give money away, so I'm not going to comment on what I think of that particular moment. Christmas is coming.
How dumb is that? How dumb is that?
He said Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
Got to have that extra cash.
Yeah, look, I can't be hit with a fine before Christmas.
Yeah, it's dumb. Kid was just trying to do his job, but I understand it. But that nearly lost him the game.
I know.
It nearly lost him a game. But
we talk about things that we've never seen before. That right there was that's something I've never seen before. A delay of game because the kid's just out there trying to do his job.
Well, the Jazz with some impressive minutes though in that game. They were down by 7 or 8 earlier there in the fourth quarter, and they go on that 8-0 run. They get themselves back in that game. Just somebody that you got to start to watch a little bit. And by the way, I don't know who made the decision to put all the chips in Josh Giddey's backpack for a game, but the Chicago Bulls went all in on Josh Giddey, and I don't know if that's the guy that you're like, well, we're going to be led by Josh Giddey.
Yes.
Josh is great. He plays a lot of great basketball, but I don't know if he's the person you really want to lean on.
I know we don't see a lot of Sunday games, but that was a heck of a game. That was fun. Double OT, Jazz busting their butt out there, and the Jazz get the victory. Again, double overtime, 150 to 147. And just like that, folks, the Jazz have a winning record at home at 4-3. They're 5-8 overall on the season. And, look, they're not pushovers anymore. Now, look, who knows how long this is going to last, and if they, if Danny and Austin Ainge would be like, all right, you know what, we can't have this, and Lauri Markkanen gets traded. Because right now, in the whole, buy low, sell high, I don't think you're going to get a higher asking price than what you're going to get right now at a Lauri Markkanen. Now, do you want to move him right now? Do you want to give up on him and give him to somebody that's trying to make a playoff push? Or do you continue to try to build around him? He's kind of in a weird spot where he's not quite. He wants to win now. He wants to win now, and he's not 22. He's like, 28, 29. Mm-hmm. So he's not like, okay, well, you know what? He wants to win now, but, man, we're going to have him for another bunch of years, and he's not yet to the prime. No, he is in the prime of his career. He knows it. His representation knows it. Everybody around the league knows it. And so they're like, okay, if we're going to get something out of him, it's got to be right now. And the Jazz are not in a situation where they can get the most out of him right now.
He turns 29 in May.
So, I mean, he's creeping up on 30, so you got to make a decision one way or another there. I would not fault the Jazz if they traded him. It would bum me out, but I wouldn't fault the logic there.
What I'd rather see is the Jazz make the blockbuster move to build around him.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because there are guys that are performing. Keontae George is worth a lot more now than he was to begin the season. Yep. Isaiah Collier has balled out since he's jumped on a Jazz court. I do think that they've got some very valuable pieces that they can add. One guy that I think the jury's still out on is Cody Williams.
Yes. Yep. And I think that's going to – I mean, when the Jazz drafted him, they knew that was going to take some time. Mm-hmm. But next year, I'll give him another year, and then you need to start seeing a little ROI on that.
Next year is a big year.
Yep. All right. Spin it, Lloyd.
Not in the unemployment line long.
No, he was not. James Franklin, heck of a coach, and did some good things at Penn State until this year where he lost a few games, and Penn State said, nope, go away. We're going to pay you $50 million to just not coach anymore. And Virginia Tech said, all right, fine, we'll hire him. And he's expected to be named the new head coach at Virginia Tech by the end of the week. So, no, this doesn't go into the offseason at all. This is he's taking over this program and trying to hit the ground running going into recruiting, which is why coaches are getting fired earlier, because they understand, hey, you got December to come in, evaluate, kick the guys off you don't want, keep the guys you want, and then hit the transfer portal in January. You can't be making your hire in December, in January. You need to be making your hire in late November so that these guys can be ready to go. That's why you're seeing these coaches get fired so early. But I don't know. Not that I really care that much about Virginia Tech or Penn State, but James Franklin, I think, is a good coach that did dirty at Penn State. So I think he'll have an opportunity to do some good things there.
One more if you got time.
Close, but no cigar.
Did you get to watch any of that BYU-UConn game?
Oh, I did. Watched it this morning.
Man, BYU fought their butts off.
Down at one point by as many as 14, right?
Yeah, I think it was 14. Was it 17? Was 17 the highest?
Okay. Was it more than 14? I busted through it really quick this morning. So I know it was deep double digits, pushing 20.
A couple things that happened that are kind of a bummer. And we'll wait to see how these things play out. But Keba Keita left the floor with about 9 minutes left in the first half. Took a shot to his head.
Yeah,
He was getting after a loose ball and took a shot to his head. So losing Keba Keita in that game, if you had Keba, how much does that help down the stretch? I mean, he just changes everything.
Yeah. And a lot of things you don't see in a stat sheet. He just alters so many shots. He's going to get block shots, but he alters shots, alters how teams attack the rim offensively.
And then you played that game without starting guard Kennard Davis.
Yeah.
Because the DUI following the crash, which, you and I didn't really comment on that.
No.
I think there's still a lot to be learned from what happened there. You've seen, I'm sure you've seen everything I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a lot unknown about that. But you're without Kennard Davis, and UConn led in that game, the majority of the game, and as Scotty mentioned, by double digits, a lot of the game. Fought their butts off, got back into the game. UConn misses a free throw, BYU's down by 3. Rob Wright gets the ball. He's driving the lane. He loses the ball, loses possession, gives up the turnover, and BYU loses an opportunity. But the point I wanted to make with this, losing to number 3 UConn is not the same in basketball.
No.
Than losing to a team in football that might be ranked number 7 or number 8. A loss to UConn in the early stages of the season can actually help you in different tournament ratings.
In fact, BYU loses that game to UConn and improves 3 spots
by
in
2.
KenPom.
Yeah. See, that's the difference in college basketball.
And that's all statistically based. So, I mean, it's a different world in college basketball. You want to play those quad 1 games. You want to play those in neutral sites or even on the road. And if you lose them, it really doesn't hurt you. And if you lose them very closely, like BYU did, it definitely doesn't hurt you.
A.J. DeMonsa had 25 points. Saunders had 17. Rob Wright had 16. But pretty impressive pushback at the very end. UConn led 82-77. DeMonsa dropped in a layup with just under a minute to play. 2 free throws by Damari made it 84-79. 3-pointer by Dawson Baker. That's the one I want to point out. Dawson Baker with a deep 3. Just a nice transition pull-up deep 3. And kept that game kind of on the balance. But 86-84, BYU loses it by a fingernail.
Nope. Game neutral site, TD America in Boston. But let's be honest, that was a pretty heavy UConn crowd.
Yeah.
BYU fans still there. Down by as many as 20. It did hit 20, huh?
Yep. It was 59-39.
Yeesh. That's a hell of a comeback. All right. Hans and Scotty, we'll wrap up this bad boy next right here on The Zone.
SL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes return home for a battle against Kansas State. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, remember, we're going to be at Bar Dub Grill coming up tomorrow. That's right. Tomorrow from noon to 3, driving to Nephi. We're going to make it worth your while tomorrow. Come on down, exit 222 in Nephi, Bar Dub Grill. And if you want to check out all the great meat opportunities, the beef, go to barwbeef.com. They'll ship anywhere in the state of Utah for free on orders over $150.
Or if you come into Bar Dub at the Bar Dub Grill just off exit 222 there in Nephi, they've got a big freezer full of steaks and burgers, and so you can get your burger or you can get your pot roast dinner. Oh. The pot roast dinner is a mainstay.
I forgot about the pot roast. You're going to be knee-deep in that tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm going to hit that pot roast dinner tomorrow for sure. But you can pick up your steaks while you come out to Bar Dub, too.
So you come out, try the burgers, and then be like, okay, I want to try more of that. And then you just go over to the freezer and grab yourself some steaks, some ground beef, and head on home. Because whether it's a steak, a roast, or a ground beef, it's all dry aged for 14 days. All right, Raiders and Cowboys. Your Cowboys getting a big win tonight?
Yeah, I think the boys are going to get it. You know, the Raiders have sure been on the struggle bus lately.
Are you talking about like the last 20 years?
No, they've made the playoffs more recently than that. It's been like 4 years.
One trip to the playoffs.
Hey, there's a trip.
You know, it's just incredible to me that you're looking around for a quarterback to start this season, and you're like, you know, I think we feel pretty confident in going with a old washed-up nobody that's done nothing. That's where they lost me, Lloyd.
Oh, so that's where they lost you.
Hey, look, there was 20-odd years of fandom that got flushed down the toilet by the Raiders when they and you tried. I mean, you gave Geno a shot.
At some point, they're sitting there.
You really
like,
are one of those fans, and I'm not even going to call you a fan, actually. But you really do disgust me.
Lloyd, don't say things that are going to hurt our relationship.
That's really hurtful, man.
Don't say
I'm
things.
just going to say because Hey, we've talked to lots of fans. That's what we do.
So you're okay with them saying, we're going to hire a 74-year-old head coach, and we're going to hire a 36-year-old quarterback, and we're going to see how this goes?
I mean, I think as a fan, it's your job to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take an honest assessment.
Don't believe that.
I do too. Like yesterday, I gave an honest assessment that I felt like the Broncos weren't going to win that game yesterday. Now, I was happy I was wrong.
They're going to lose.
I was happy to be wrong, but you know what? I'm always going to be realistic on my thoughts on my team.
You're not much better of a fan either.
I'm a great fan.
We are going to lose Max Crosby. We're going to lose Ashton Genty. We're going to lose Jack Besh.
Stop saying we're. Stop saying it.
I can say it because
you can't.
I've been a Raiders fan as long as you have.
He's been emotionally invested.
I don't even say we.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Coming up next, JJ and Alex straight ahead. Hans and Scotty, again, tomorrow, Bar Dub Grill in Nephi. Come down, say hi. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.